Hello to the community and welcome back to Darwin and Marie conference in the National Library of Austria. We have our second panel here, also very fantastic panel, very fantastic panelists. Thank you guys that you have time to speak with us. On my left side, Dora Gazi-Kovacevic, counsel at Wolf Thijs. Very welcome, Dora.
Thank you for having me.
Then we have international guest, Torkil Sone, founder and chairperson of Specialisterne. Welcome.
Thank you.
Did I pronounce this correctly?
Good enough.
Good enough. Okay. And we have Josephine Pribil, manager people and organization at BDO Consulting Austria. Welcome, Josephine.
Welcome. Thank you.
Very interesting panel. You corrected me before. I said, did you bring some tax topics with us? Obviously, BDO does tax as well, but it's not your scope of activity. So let's keep it with BDO. What do you do? You consult HR.
We definitely do taxes and audit and advisory, of course. That's what we're maybe known for. But we also have a quite big and quite growing or quite fast growing consultancy department within BDO Austria. And I'm working for the department People and Organization. So we are, actually it's within the name. So we work with the organizations and the people within, with leadership development, organizational development, quite different fields of expertise.
What kind of role does the topic of female leadership and female entrepreneurship, let's say, take in your consulting activities?
I think female leadership is quite one thing which you cannot escape anywhere. And as you've talked before with the other panel, I think we don't only talk about female leadership, we talk about leadership. And we talk about organizations, and that's why it always comes down to culture. It always comes down to what my word would either be is individualism and maybe flexibility, as well as company culture. And I think that's maybe the best part where you can sum up with one word what we're doing or what we work with. Okay.
Torkil, you are, so to say, founder and chairperson, and you deal with social entrepreneurs. What is the connection to the topic of female entrepreneurship, and what is the, so to say, what kind of role do female entrepreneurs play in the field of social entrepreneurship?
Yes, I am a social entrepreneur. That is a person who solves a social challenge with a business model. The social challenge is that there's a big part of our community that is excluded from the labor market. My experience is I have a son who is autistic. That opened my eyes for this world of exclusion. So the business model is to help companies be more competitive and communities be more sustainable. Companies, by giving them access to a huge untapped pool of resources that actually is a super good match for many of the thousands of vacant jobs that we have today. The communities, because we create more taxpayers. But the relationship to female leadership is a bit tricky. What I'm representing is to turn exclusion into inclusion from a very big group of people, where when I go abroad and talk about my work, I'm often met by, why are you doing this? You are a male. So I think the female leadership is more, we need everyone on board, leave no one behind. So I think I'm a minority today, but I think in many ways I have maybe a female leadership mindset.
And the example of autism is an excellent one, because these are people who are highly skilled in certain fields of their activity, and big talent, and big, so to say, treasure also for the companies. Do you see any development on this topic of the inclusion?
Absolutely. I've set a goal to enable 1 million jobs for autistic people and people with a similar neurodiverse profile. These are overseen today. When you talk about diversity, it's very much about gender, sometimes about sex, sexual orientation, sometimes about disability, but mostly physical or visible disability. But there's a big unknown world for many about those who actually have all the skills you would need as a business professional. I am a business professional. I need people with a good memory who can see patterns, who are very structured and find a pride in what they do, who can have high accuracy also in repetitive tasks, but also come up with different ideas to solve old traditional challenges. This is what big businesses like Microsoft, IBM, SAP, PwC, JP Morgan Chase, they are now hiring autistic people by the hundreds.
Fantastic.
Thanks to our work. And this is the wave from that I got started in the US. I'm working with the United Nations and World Economic Forum to bring that movement across all traditional Europe into Asia, because just imagine 1% of any population would qualify for an autism diagnosis. And when you count ADHD and OCD and schizophrenia, dyslexia, we're talking about such a big part, not just about from our labor force, but big part of our communities and our families.
Perfect.
And what we are doing is we are kind of bringing family values into a very stiff labor market.
Fantastic. Dora, you're a lawyer in probably one of the biggest, or maybe the biggest law firm in Austria, a field which is very male-dominated.
Exactly.
What is your connection to the topic? How do you, so to say, make sure that female leaders have a career in your company?
Yes, that is a very important topic for Wolf Thijs. We are one of the biggest law firms in Austria, but we're also a regional law firm. So we have 13 offices across the region in the Central and Eastern Europe. And we basically practice cultural diversity every day because we work on cross-border projects. We have teams that work together. We speak over 20 local languages. So we really practice cultural diversity on a daily basis. When it comes to gender diversity, we also make strong efforts to empower women in leadership roles, to really detect female talent and to mix female talent with the male talent. And I would agree, legal services are still mostly dominated by men, but I think it's changing. I think that there are important steps that have been taken, and actually the measures that we are considering and taking are very important. And I think it's important that we combine direct female talent towards business. And that's important because there are so many studies and so many evidence that diversity really plays an important role in the success of the companies.
Yes.
In its performance, and also when it comes to innovation. It's a really important factor.
How do you do that? Do you set KPIs, or is it more of a, so to say, goodwill, or is it a strategy behind it to enable that?
Yes, we have a strategy behind it. Of course, we have really specific steps that we take. Of course, it depends on the region or on the local practices, but there is an increase of women also in our firm.
Josephine, do you have any best practice, so to say, examples? You have a lot of clients in this field. How to enable this inclusion? Does it take KPIs? Does it take processes? How do you advise your companies?
I think I would find little small steps. So I think everybody's sensible for the topic. And as we also consult different sizes of companies, and we don't have only multinational companies, which have it maybe a little bit more easier with all the topics, but also with smaller companies. And I think they're all working on it. They're all sensitive for it, but it's not about also finding a solution for it and finding okay, you can work part-time, or you can make home office or whatever it is. But I think it's a culture topic, and therefore it's also quite hard maybe to find the right KPIs and to really measure it. And it's also, even if everything is changing very fast, and we know that, this is not changing very fast. So they have to make their steps, and even if there are baby steps, I think that's the best steps they can do.
Perfect. And you guys are working on the topic, we're working together on the topic, so it's very important, and it's important especially in days where people are looking for talent, companies are looking for talent, to open up these vast pools of genius talent, so to say, diverse, and include them in the companies. Thank you for these insights. I will enjoy your panels later on at the conference. Stay tuned. We will report from Darwin and Marie. Very important conference. Great speakers here. Stay tuned and see you later.